Hello, everyone, and welcome back to MEP Next Gen. My name is Clea Maxey, and I am a senior studying industrial engineering with a certificate in entrepreneurship and innovation and a certificate in systems.
And hello, everyone. I'm Clifford Underwood. I am an agriculture engineer concentrated in machine systems. In today's episode, we will discuss Purdue perspectives and how much they mean to us as minority engineers.
Yes, so I take my journey as a student very seriously. I'm not only Black, but I'm a woman, which is both equally as important to me. And statistics show that only 13.7% of all women in engineering, all engineers are women, and out of that 13.7%, only 5.8 are actually Black. So it really shows me that there's not a lot of us in the industry. So being Black and a woman definitely has impacted my story and my perspective. And then, as you know, here at Purdue, being a minority engineer is also hard. It's rewarding, but it takes a lot of grit and determination.
Yeah, of course. I agree with that. So between the coursework and joining different organizations and other responsibilities, that Purdue grit that everyone talks about is really no joke. During my time here, I faced plenty of challenges and, different obstacles. But in the end, I've always, been able to overcome them.
We have a special treat for our listeners. Our crew reached out to a Purdue alumni, Cicely Hart. Cicely Hart graduated with a BSEE in electrical engineering and computer engineering, and was involved with the National Society of Black Engineers. She has experience working in GE Industrial Systems and Duke Energy, and currently serves as the Vice President of Region Services at Duke Energy Corporation. On to that interview.
All right.
All right. Welcome, Ms. Hart, to MEP Next Gen. We are so excited to get to interview you today, especially as a accomplished alumni. My name is Clea Maxey, and I'm a senior in industrial engineering.
And I'm Clifford Underwood. I'm a fourth-year student here at Purdue University, studying agriculture engineering with a concentration in machine systems.
And we just want to get started by asking you to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so my name is Cicely Hart. I am a vice president at Duke Energy in Plainfield, Indiana. I was an alum from 1998 there at Purdue University, West Lafayette. I majored in electrical and computer engineering, and so I participated in NSBE and the MEP program. I was also a cooperative education student, so I worked at General Electric for 5 sessions, and it took me an extra year to graduate as I was doing the sessions for class and the sessions for working. So that's a little bit about me.
Okay.
We can go ahead and get started with the first question. So can you tell us why you chose Purdue?
Yes, I'll be honest here that Purdue was not my first selection. I did want to go to an HBCU just in the 90s. A lot of my friends were choosing HBCUs, and so I had Spelman on the brain. But when I went to Spelman, the environment and the money that they offered didn't match up for what I could afford at the time. So Purdue was on the list. It just was not the top of my list. And so it was my mother's budget had Purdue in it. So it was kind of like the second best, but it turned out to be the absolute best. God knows better than I do. So that's how I got to Purdue.
I feel like that's a story that a lot of us can relate with, because whenever we ask someone why they chose Purdue, there's always like money in that equation. And a lot of people don't even figure out that like Purdue has so many decorated alumni until they start coming there. Like I had no idea. So I'm like, money was, God's plan. Money was definitely part of the equation, but it just so happens that it's a really good school. So it works out.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
To go off your background, you went to Purdue University, correct? But I can imagine that it didn't start off all sunshine and roses, right? So kind of give us how, initially, your initial impression and kind of what you had to work through and things you had to learn to get to the position you are, at today.
Well, what set me up was my high school was pretty blended. I'll say it was a PWI high school, so there was not a lot of shock when I got to Purdue, other
Mhm.
than the classroom sizes. Not used to, a lecture hall of 300 people and seeing
Mhm.
about 10 people that looked like me. So that was a difference. I mean, MEP definitely helped with that, but my school, high school, did set me up academically for the rigor of Purdue. So I'm thankful for that. I went to Pike High School here in Indianapolis, Indiana, and
Okay.
went through a lot of advanced placement courses. I was able to test out of Calculus 1, or was it 115? Whatever the first calculus is that you get into. And so started off into kind of like that second semester freshman class, and that helped a lot because I was able to get on the right path with my math courses.
Mhm.
Because if you want to be an engineer, math, you can't get away from that.
Right.
So I felt like I was prepared. What I wasn't prepared for were the teachers and that freshman lecture. They probably still do it. They say, look to your left, look to your right. One of you won't be here.
Yeah.
And it
Mhm.
was true. We started seeing them drop like, every couple of weeks. It was okay. They'd move over to the technology, or they'd get out of engineering altogether. And so
Yeah.
I'd never seen a prediction like that come true. I'm like, nah, we're all going to make it. That wasn't the case. So it
Right.
was just interesting that they put that into the universe. I do hope they stop doing that. I mean, because I don't think it's a positive thing to say, even though probably realistic. But what you set that environment up for could help students, with their psyche, with their mental,
Hmm.
with
Mhm.
their aspirations. But it did ring true. A lot of the people that we started with that first couple of weeks, engineering 100 or whatever that course is, they did not graduate with us in engineering.
Mm. Oh wow.
Yeah, the weed out classes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
first year I definitely remember being told that, and so it definitely was like it put a lot of pressure on me, and I wasn't sure if I was gonna make it because it like puts that in your head like there's a possibility like it's equally possible for you not to. So
Yeah.
Exactly. Because you're
knowing
like, is it
that,
you? I'm next to somebody. Okay. Am I the one that's going to make it, or am I the one that he's talking about? So,
right?
Yep.
um,
But you made it, so
Yeah.
hey, I'm telling you, guy was
Yeah.
bigger than he was, whoever put that comment out there. But it
Yeah.
actually, I think it set some people up for like, okay, maybe I should look at the alternative versus pushing towards sticking
Mhm.
with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say I was in that position freshman year. When I was going through classes, and like, first of all, I've never taken these type of rigorous exams that Purdue gives. I'll never forget, I got a really bad grade, I think in chemistry and calc exam, like back to back. And I
Hmm.
was in Derek Williams' office, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I might need to go to Cranard or something. Might need to
Hmm.
switch, because I'm like, I don't know if this is for me. Like, how am I gonna make it? But that's kind
Yes.
of, that's where MEP came in for me, and was like, okay,
Yes.
we have the resources, we have tutors. Have you talked to this person?
Yes.
This person's in
Yes.
this class, or they took this class. Ask them what they did, and that, hey, I'm here today. So, I mean,
Yes.
it's part of it is kind of, we have to step outside of our comfort zone and seek the help, or even just be vocal about our struggles, um,
Hmm.
and in an effort to strive to want to do better. We initially say, hey, I want to be an engineer. All right, let's follow through with
Hmm.
that. you know
Hmm.
so.
Correct. Okay. With that being said, we do have another question because you were talking about MEP. So could you tell us a little bit about your experience with MEP when you were at Purdue?
MEP was a lifeline, I tell you. I mean, I know you've heard about the legend of Marion Blaylock.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
freshman year, she looked at all of us, and I mean, in mama fashion, she yelled at us and said said bad words and all of all of that. But she was the mom that many of us needed when we were
Right.
there at Purdue. So, but she kept us around, and she, just like you said, Clifford, she let us know that there were files at the MEP office, like, for all the classes. If you needed to see an example of something worked out, a
Hmm.
calculus problem or a chemistry problem worked out, even though it wouldn't be the exact same problem, they'd show you, well, here's a sample of one that, this teacher had last year. So we ended up, putting that ride or die team together, that click, to make sure that we struggled together, but we also advanced together.
Right.
So I can tell you there's probably 7 people I can name right now that we all just went up to the MEP office. It was in a different location than it is now, but we'd all be up there at the same time, studying hard, like I said, with Miss Blaylock overseeing us, looking crazy at us, but
making sure y'all were doing your work.
that we did not give up. Yes, it was to make sure we didn't give up.
I think it's a little more relaxed now.
It felt good though through MEP though. So even as we were struggling, we were able to help with the summer program. So like I said, I did the co-op program. So there were times I was there the summer when a lot of people were away back home, but I was studying. So I would help with the summer programs, and it felt good to help even while you were going through your own difficulties of double E 201 and double E 202, but also to help support that next group coming up.
Yeah, it's like I'm living a mirror of your life, because that's kind of what happened to me. I was on co-op in the spring in Atlanta, Georgia, and then I came back this summer to help out with like Promise and Preface, my all the different camps this summer, and it was like, it feels good to be able to give back, even though I've been struggling. I'm still taking a class right now. Nothing beats giving back to what put me in this position. So
that's it.
Yeah. I definitely agree that MEP has given a lot of the students a lot, and so it's good to see that this is like a legacy, and it's been a continual thing, and it's not just something that's just like started happening. So like we are definitely like very grateful for MEP, and we're very avid, obviously, doing the podcast. We're very avid supporters and promoters of MEP as well.
Yes, it means everything. I mean, if you're going to a school and you're looking for your clique, or you're looking for your people, you're looking for, how you can, I guess, have that group of people who can help you sustain. MEP helps with that.
Yeah. I had a question. It's kind of going back to our previous discussion. I shouldn't say previous discussion, but our previous podcast where we were talking about imposter syndrome. I was wondering, so you've been in industry for a while now, right? I was wondering, kind of, have you experienced anything like that at Purdue? And then could you talk about whether you experienced things like that in the industry as well?
Yes, in both places, being a female for one, being Black for the other. When you come across the majority population, you feel in your head, many women call it the itty bitty committee. We kind of shrink ourselves like, okay, you instantly think they're better than you, they know more than you, they have more capabilities than you do. So, and then when you find out that it's not true, it's really enlightening, because the closer you get to that unknown, you realize, okay, they're struggling just like I am. They don't know anything. They're just pretending. Their confidence is different. So that's what I had to do, even in industry, is to turn my confidence on, because it's not a battle of capabilities. We're both capable. It's just that I have to turn my confidence into decision making, and making sure that my executive presence is there, because I haven't found, I'm not saying I'm the smartest person in the room, but I'm absolutely not the one who knows the least.
Right.
And, the itty bitty committee could have you thinking that you're the one in the room who doesn't have what everybody else has. And Purdue can do that for you. I've shared this before, is, when you have group projects and you have to pick partners, or you have to pick who's on your team, there were often times, me and my roommate, she's another Black female engineer, we'd be the last one selected, from the majority groups. So it's like they already assume that we didn't have value to bring to the teams. And so we'd get our team together, and, 9 times out of 10, we'd have the best group, because we were willing to put that effort in and, go above and beyond. But that can start to weigh on you when you're not selected in that majority group. And if you only have a small group of women to choose from, and you're not selected at all, it's like, okay. Okay, let's go.
Right. Let's do it.
Let's do it. But it doesn't stop at school. So I often, when I'm talking to students, I have to let them know Purdue is forecasting. What you experience at Purdue, you will experience in industry. So, to learn that confidence or, find that confidence in yourself at Purdue will absolutely help you in your industry because nothing changes.
Yeah. Wow.
That's great that you can put it in perspective like that, because I like to hear it from different folks to understand, like, okay, is it just me experiencing it? Because there's been times where similar situations where it's like you're almost undermined, and it's like, okay, am I strong enough to compete at this level, right? You got people that's not necessarily outperforming you, but maybe in their background they know of these things beforehand. So just trying to keep up and make sure that you're on point. It's pretty important.
Agreed. Definitely experienced that as well. Coming in first year, and doing group projects. A lot of people assume I didn't know what I was doing, and then I turned out to be the one doing the most work. So, definitely,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. And I feel like I shouldn't have to feel that way. Like feel as though I need to prove myself because ultimately, like I'm at Purdue for a reason. But it still is that reality whenever I'm in group projects.
Yeah. And that, it becomes, who they pick on their teams at work too. We have special projects at work. We have departments made up of teams, and who will the hiring manager select based on what they know. What I found is my preparation helps me because if I know that a certain job requires these 10 skills, I'm going to go get those 10 skills so that there won't be, oh, she had 7 out of 10.
Right.
You eliminate all the excuses. If you eliminate, where you have to do an apples to apples comparison, then what do you have left?
Right.
Okay.
That's true. That's a good point.
I do have another question. So as it pertains to the episode, our next question is, what is your Purdue perspective? Interpret that how you may.
What is my Purdue perspective? Well, I had a wonderful time at Purdue, if that's part of the question. I have lifelong friends. We call ourselves the Purdue Divas. We met in Earhart Hall, second and third floor. So I credit Purdue for that, for those relationships, for, the sisters that I've had for 30 plus years at this point. But it also, like I said, it helped me forecast getting into an industry like the utility industry where I'm not the majority. I don't see a lot of people like myself. And when I was at Purdue, same thing. So I'm already able to work in this environment. It's not, there's nothing different about this environment that still like challenges me or, that I'm fearful of, because conquered that at Purdue. I got out of Purdue. I was successful at Purdue, so that set me up for success in the long term. What I noticed from having children in college is that my daughter, who attends an HBCU, other than Miss Blaylock, so if I took Mrs. Blaylock out of the picture, there was not a teacher, a professor, a TA, or anyone on the academic level who reached out to make sure that I was good. Who put an interest to say, okay, Cicely, we're going to get you to graduation. No one. Not one. And my daughter, who is at an HBCU, we talk to her counselors, her teachers often, because it is a joint interest in getting her where she needs to be. So that's the one thing about Purdue I can say. I never really had someone care if I passed or didn't pass.
So the MEP program helped then, for sure.
MEP,
with that.
That's what I said. Outside Miss Blaylock, because she made sure that we did not fail. But one person in a university of, I don't know how many professors we could have said we had at the time, it shouldn't be on her shoulders.
Right.
Or Miss Virginia now. It shouldn't be on one person's shoulders. It should be a community effort for us to succeed. And I didn't experience that at Purdue.
Right. I will say, I guess to add to that, as of now, that is changing as far as the staff is getting more involved with. We have, we're hosting, for the freshmen, Chem 115 and Calc 1 review sessions with the, the head department of, person that's in charge of that. So Dr. Chin for the, Calc, and Mary Beth Miller for Chem. And they're constantly checking in, making sure we're on track. And then, we have Miss Tam there as well, trying to keep us on track as well. So I think we're getting better at it. But it is something that I've never experienced before I came here anyway. So that was kind of rewarding to know that it's people besides my mom all the way back at home that care about my success here and that are actively invested and will call you like, hey, how are you doing? You know what I mean?
Yes, that's exciting to hear. Yes.
Yeah. So that's my take.
I was very alone before MEP for sure, because I didn't find it until sophomore year. But then now, like even Dr. Jessica Perkins, she has academic coaching, success coaching. So like students can come to her and like she'll help you out. We have like tutoring 40 plus subjects, and then we have so many tutors this semester. It's insane. Miss Tam always there to help us. Miss Booth always there as well. And then she always tells her story of like industrial engineering and going through Purdue. And like it's hilarious. Like she really can raise your spirit. So like you definitely have all these staff members that are here for you now. And so like I love the full circle moment. I'm glad that we're definitely building that. And MEP is actually connecting those gaps as well with professors so that we can do a little bit better in that and get one-on-one attention. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, we're trying to bridge the gap. That's all. Trying to bridge the gap and build a generation. That's it.
I mean, if you think about people attending Purdue versus graduating from Purdue, we can get a lot of minorities and women to attend Purdue, but if while you're there you feel isolated, alone, that there's no one taking an active interest in your succession, you won't stay because it's too hard. I mean, mentally the work is hard. So you need that cheerleader, that advocate to help you and say, you can do this. Even though it is hard, you can do hard things. And so, in my experience, there really wasn't anyone from a teacher perspective who said, okay, I see you're struggling. Let's work on this. This is the gap that you have. Here's how we can close it. It was kind of MEP, myself, and my mother, my parents.
You definitely need to like know how to like ask for help, and a lot of students like struggle with that, especially everyone like coming from being like the top of their class or like having good grades. They learning how to actually ask for help. A lot of people struggle with that, and so the teachers don't do it for you, and that is like a problem that a lot of students face. They think they can figure it out by themselves, but ultimately it takes more time to figure it out than just to ask for help. So I agree. All right, and we have our last question for you. So what does it mean to be a Boilermaker?
Woo-wee. The credit that Purdue has given me, I tell you, it's unmatched. I mean, it really is. Like I said, it wasn't my top selection, but going to Purdue has completely changed my trajectory. What people assume about me is high. Now I back up what people assume about me, but they already assume something from me. I don't know if I would have gotten at an HBCU in the 90s. I'll just tell you that. I think HBCUs of today are getting that notoriety, which they should have at the, all along. But my Purdue experience and the people who in my industry also went to Purdue. I mean, on our board of directors at the company that I work at, there's probably 3 Purdue graduates on the board of directors.
Wow.
We're throughout my company even in the non-Indiana area. So in Ohio, in Florida, in the Carolinas, which again, my company is represented, Purdue is in those territories too. People, graduates are.
Yeah.
So, you know, people assume the Purdue curriculum is very intense. And so if they hear that I graduated from Purdue, then that makes them assume that I can handle that intensity. So it's just given me a lot of, I'll say, street cred, if we can say that, you know. It has made people assume and have confidence in me that, again, I back it up, but it has been a weight towards a good weight in my favor that I went to Purdue and was able to graduate.
Right.
That's good to hear. Someone that's, you know, about to graduate. Maybe I'll actually graduate then, you know. Now that you said I'll get that credit.
Not maybe, you will.
Okay, I will.
There's no turning back. You're too far in.
You will.
Too far in.
There is none. No.
That's good to hear, though. I think that's a good motivational speech for people that are like, you know, struggling. Like, is it really worth getting a degree here, or is it really worth getting an engineering degree here? So, like, I think that definitely helps
Stick
for
with it,
people
y'all.
that will be listening. Yeah.
This is a personal testament right here. So stick with
I mean,
it.
Purdue's listed in the top, I don't know if it's 10 or 5 or it's high.
They're somewhere up there. They stay up there.
It's highly ranked. I mean, there are not many schools that match Purdue when it comes to engineering. So I encourage all of us that are, you know, pursuing STEM or engineering specifically, Purdue is it. Purdue is it.
Okay. Well, and that's that, period.
Is there any other words or final remarks you want to leave for our listeners, especially, you know, people maybe that's in high school or, you know, even undergrad, freshman, sophomore in college? Any final, you know, remarks to kind of, I don't know, motivate them or anything like
that? Absolutely. I have 2 little people, so I'm nothing but motivation these days. So, you know, hard things, we should not avoid hard things. So I think, Kalia, you mentioned it, where if you're smart in high school and it doesn't take a lot of effort in high school and you get good grades, that's not life. Like, it's not easy. Life isn't easy. So when you come across things that are a little bit more challenging, more difficult, you don't avoid those. You want to lean into those because life is hard. And doing hard things typically has a benefit. You know, there is some result of doing hard things. The value is higher. One, because, you know, what you get out of it, but also what you learn in going through it. Yeah. So coming to Purdue can teach you about yourself. Do you have grit? You know, can you handle the rigor? Those are some things you need for life, not just in academics, but in life. You need to have grit in your career. Yeah. So that's my advice, is to look at Purdue seriously. It is a tough school. People will tell you, you know, they have different experiences at Purdue. But what I would say is don't avoid doing hard things. And Purdue is a challenging school for a reason. Not everybody should go to Purdue. Not everybody will graduate from Purdue. But if you can, and many of us can, it will benefit you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you said it best. I mean, like it's one of those things where Purdue ultimately teaches you how to problem solve, and that's more than just academically. That's life in general.
Yes.
Because if you can handle this, you pretty much can do anything, you know?
That's it.
So, hey.
And don't let me fall short, because I know you have it on your chest there, NSBE. I mean, when we went to the NSBE conferences and conventions, we thought we were top dogs. I mean, like top dogs. We call ourselves the mother chapter, you know, and everyone had to pay reverence to Purdue because of being that mother chapter. So that also was a highlight while I was there. I was part of NSBE, yes, a part of NSBE, and that helped me see engineering on a national, global scale, that I'm not alone. While we may have only had a small group there at Purdue, I mean, seeing that national conference, I mean, it blew my mind. And we were lining like we were in a sorority or a fraternity around the the luncheon, you know, with different chants.
Right.
You got to hear someone from the 90s say the NSBE chant. It's crazy. I won't do it on your podcast, but I'll tell you later.
We'll talk
For
about it
Region
offline.
4, we made a whole chant about it. So, yes.
We may still have it, to be honest.
Nothing else to say. Just we may. Okay, I'm glad it. I hope it continued, but yeah, nothing else to say. I really had a great time at Purdue. I love coming back. My son participates in some of the pre-college. That's how I met Dr. Perkins, and so hopefully that's how we connected. But I love coming back. I love being available for students. Job shadowing. Through my company, we offer internships and co-ops, and so we've employed some Purdue students as well. So
good deal.
Gonna continue that.
Yeah, and thank you for joining us on the podcast. We really value the input that you've given, especially as an alumni, and you being able to kind of like reap the benefits that came from you coming to Purdue. And I think a lot of our listeners can really benefit from that and get some motivation to keep pushing after this conversation. So we appreciate you for giving us your time as well today.
Yeah. Don't give up. All right. You're very welcome.
Yeah, we appreciate you, you know, helping to make this full circle. You know, it's good to hear, you know, undergrad, and it's good to hear also, you know, alumni position as well, to kind of understand the full scope of what you're getting into when you come to Purdue or even go through college, you know. So we do appreciate that. So I appreciate your time as well.
Very welcome. Right. See you later.
We'll see you later. And I'm going to follow you on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Yes. Connect.
Let's do it.
All right. Thank you, and have a great evening.
Take care.
Okay. Yeah. Evening, morning.
Have a good morning.
Whatever it is. See you.
All right. Bye.
All right now.
Wow. Thank you again, Ms. Cicely Hart, for joining us for that interview. It was also very insightful to get to see an alumni perspective. And with that being said, that is all we have for you today. And thank you for listening. I'm Kalia.
And I'm Cliff. And we'll see you on Next Gen next time.
Bye.
Ciao. I do 3 of them.